So one theme that I hear really running through what you've been saying, Charlie, is that around motivation, that there are keys, or maybe there's one key to enabling people to excel. And I believe that your emphasis really is on excelling rather than just being satisfactory.
Right. And excelling over a period of time. I think that's another key assumption we have. Successful companies, successful departments, successful individuals are able to sustain a high level of performance year after year after year, and are very resilient, and they don't just do it for a couple of months.
They're not shooting stars.
They're not shooting stars. If you look at the research in terms of successful companies or successful individuals, there's all sorts of research that talks about the thousands of hours you have to put into, to be a successful individual, and companies have to be willing to hang. So for us, we definitely have a point of view here that successful on-the-job performance by a highly motivated workforce that's going to extend for years only occurs when the work environment and the capabilities of the individual people are serving as enablers and not inhibitors. So let me talk about that.
Yeah, please. You're going to have to explain that to me.
So we're talking about work environment issues, and then individual capability issues can either enable or inhibit long-term performance.
Okay, why don't you give me an example or two of what you mean by workplace?
Right.
Yeah.
Because those are two very separate categories of deals. So by work environment issues, we mean factors that go on that are external to the individual person. Things like, are roles and expectations clear? I mean, do people know what their role is? We find often there's a lot of fuzziness around it. People really don't understand their role in this department. Are employees receiving timely coaching and reinforcement from their managers? Are there incentives for high performance? Are the work systems and the processes all functioning at a very high level? Do employees have access to the right information, the right tools? We often find there's an awful lot that goes on there that's not really in good shape when you look at it, and they become inhibitors. To your point, they hurt motivation.
Got it.
They hurt long-term motivation. If those things are not in place, it eventually wears out an individual. We also have the line that we use a lot, that if you pit a good, solid performer against some lousy work environment issues, the lousy work environment issues are going to win every time over a period of time. They'll eventually wear you out.
Okay, so I have a question, just to play devil's advocate for a moment.
Yeah.
So a lot of the people who are listening probably are inside organizations that are small to medium.
Right.
And probably, in their evolution, their first focus has been on surviving and then making money, right?
Right.
And so are there some parts of the work environment is there a sequence to how you focus on this? Like, this is the first thing to focus on, then there's or do you look at, it seems a little overwhelming to a relatively, immature company, immature meaning, in terms of years and focus on this.
I don't know if I would say there's a sequence. I'm afraid you're going to have to do it all, no matter what your size is. I can't imagine any of those work environment things I just mentioned that you could put off. Now in a smaller company, they're not as elaborate. The processes don't have to be quite as elaborate, and so maybe the tip is you keep it as small and as simplistic as you can when you're small. But you have to have all those things in place at one level or another.